Here is some data for perspective for the story we are debating today. Last year, Delhi saw exactly one good air day. That was October 18th. This year, so far, there has been one, September 16th. And given that the smog season is upon us, there is little chance we will have another. To cut a long story short, Delhi's pollution is real and it is worse than you think. The biggest culprit, the 123 lakh plus vehicles on Delhi's roads and the 80,000 trucks that enter the capital every day. 2 days ago, the Arvind Kejriwal government announced a dramatic move to bring down vehicular pollution. No pollution under control certificate, no fuel. The date for the rollout was supposed to be 25th of October. But now, Gopal Rai, Delhi's environment minister, is being wishy-washy about the move and the date. Listen in.
आपने एक ग्रीन वॉर रूम आज एस्टैब्लिश किया है, मेजर इम्प्लीमेंटेशन इसके क्या?
देखिए, दिल्ली के अंदर अभी सर्दियों में प्रदूषण बढ़ता है। दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री माननीय अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने 15 पॉइंट एक्शन प्लान लॉन्च किया है। उन सभी अभियानों के मॉनिटरिंग, नियंत्रण, एनालाइज करने के लिए वार रूम आज से 24/7 शुरू किया जा रहा है। जहाँ तक हमारे नेबरिंग स्टेट हैं, उत्तर प्रदेश है, हरियाणा है और पंजाब है, जहाँ ज़्यादा पराली जलाई जाती है, उसका इम्पैक्ट उस पर्टिकुलर टाइम में दिल्ली के एनवायरनमेंट पे होता है। उसके लिए पंजाब में चूँकि हमारी सरकार बन चुकी है, यूपी हरियाणा के साथ भी हम चाहते हैं, केंद्र सरकार को मैंने चिट्ठी भी लिखी है, एक ज्वाइंट मीटिंग होनी चाहिए। लेकिन पंजाब में हमारी सरकार है तो उनके साथ हमने मीटिंगें शुरू की हैं। पंजाब सरकार ने पहले ये प्लान बनाया था कि किसानों को आर्थिक सहयोग दिया जाएगा और उसके लिए उन्होंने प्लान जो था कि पंजाब सरकार, दिल्ली सरकार और केंद्र सरकार सहयोग से इस काम को किया जाए। दिल्ली सरकार ने तैयार थी लेकिन केंद्र सरकार ने इसको मना कर दिया कि हम सहयोग नहीं देंगे इसके लिए। आफ्टर दैट अभी कृषि मंत्री से हमने मीटिंग की थी और वो लोग अल्टरनेट प्लान पर काम कर रहे हैं।
तो दूसरा, कल आपकी मिनिस्ट्री ने एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाला है कि 25 अक्टूबर के बाद बिना PUC सर्टिफिकेट के पेट्रोल या डीजल नहीं दिया जाएगा दिल्ली में।
देखिए, पहली बात तो है कि सरकार ने अभी कोई नोटिफिकेशन जारी नहीं किया है। सरकार के पास बहुत तरह के सुझाव आए हैं। उन सुझावों के आधार पर अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स को ये काम दिया गया है। पुलिस को काम दिया गया है, ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट, एनवायरनमेंट, फूड एंड सप्लाई, सभी डिपार्टमेंट उसको स्टडी कर रहे हैं और उसको लेकर के वर्कआउट कर रहे हैं। आगामी दिनों में इन सभी लोगों की रिपोर्ट आने के बाद जो एक्सपर्ट्स की राय है उनको लेकर के फिर उसके अनुसार दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के साथ वो रिपोर्ट हम शेयर करेंगे। आफ्टर दैट टेक डिसीजन।
See, people are very callous. After even it's been coming in the news, there is no rush at all. Hardly 5%. So people who are offenders are still offenders. They have not moved with this news of notification. See, first of all, we are not enforcers of law, as in we are not inspectors. We can't ask for pollution certificate from a customer before fueling the vehicle. So we spoke with the Minister Saab, Mr. Gopal Rai, and he understood our problems and he had instructed his people. There's a penal provision actually, let me tell you, that if we don't check the PUC certificate before filling a vehicle, we'll be jailed for 5 years. So we are not law enforcers, we are not inspectors. Why should you penalize us? We are just traders. We can help you in checking the PUC certificates, no problem at all. You can deploy your civil defense people, your police, anybody at the pump, they'll do the needful. We are just traders. So, it's the intent is good, but the execution is absolutely flawed.
We are expecting that this will be implemented by October 25th. What do you think will be the situation then, sir?
It'll be complete chaos because in any case at every petrol pump you see there are people fighting over fuel. And this will create a ruckus and we'll have frequent fights and law and order situation at every petrol pump. So even if they go ahead with this, we would request the police department to deploy a few people of police at all the petrol pumps in Delhi.
अभी तो काम डाउन था, बस अभी थोड़ा काम बढ़ा है 1 अक्टूबर से। और मतलब पहले हमारी गाड़ी 30-35 के आसपास होती थी, तो वही 40-45 के आसपास आ रही है।
आज ज़्यादा रश है?
हाँ, और दिनों के मुकाबले थोड़ा ज़्यादा रश है।
3 हफ्ते का समय दिया है। हम रोज़ रूटीन में निकलते हैं तो हमें अपना PUC जो है टाइम से करा लेना चाहिए।
हाँ नहीं, ठीक है, स्टेप तो बहुत बढ़िया है जी। और टाइम की बात है तो जैसे लोगों को नहीं पता है, किसी को पता है, किसी को नहीं पता है, तो इसी हिसाब से थोड़ा सा टाइम और दे देना चाहिए.
Yeah, it is a phased step because you have to get the law should be stringent. Unless it is stringent, no one will obey that. So it's a good step by government and everyone should obey it.
बिल्कुल गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से एक फेयर वो है डील है, ये बहुत अच्छा है क्योंकि आगे आगे विंटर्स आ रहे हैं और उसमें भी बहुत ज़्यादा पोल्यूशन हो जाएगा, वो हमारे लिए ही हार्मफुल है, तो उसके लिए बहुत अच्छा वो किया है गवर्नमेंट ने कि इसको स्टार्ट किया है. ये आई थिंक सो सफिशिएंट टाइम है, पब्लिक को थोड़ा सा अपने लिए बनना पड़ेगा ये सब चीज़ें. 3 वीक्स इट्स टू मोर, सफिशिएंट टाइम है, आप लोगों को करना चाहिए.
स्टेप तो जरूरी है बट टाइम थोड़ा देना चाहिए, थोड़ा पहले से अवेयर करना चाहिए कि जल्दी से टाइम से कराएं सब लोग. और कुछ स्टेशंस बहुत कम है, वो स्टेशंस बढ़ा दें PUC चेकिंग के, तो थोड़ा इतना रश नहीं होगा, फिर टाइम से ही सब करा पाएंगे.
Let me go across to our guests who are joining us this evening. We have Anuja Kapur, who's spokesperson of the BJP. Priyanka Kakkar is a spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Vimlendu Jha is an environmentalist, and Bhavreen Khandari is a social analyst. She's also a very strong citizen voice, and it's the citizen that she is representing today. I'm first coming to Priyanka Kakkar. Priyanka, help me understand this. 2 days ago, you have Delhi's Environment Minister, Mr. Gopal Rai, call a press conference and announce no PUCs, then no fuel from October 25th. Today, when our reporter asked him the same question, look at the wishy-washy answer he got. He said, oh, there are many suggestions that have come to us. No PUC, no fuel is one of them. And it is ultimately up to the Chief Minister to decide whether the move will be implemented or not. As the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, can you tell me today whether no PUC, no fuel is being implemented in Delhi on the 25th of October or not?
Good evening to all of you. So I can tell you that this move will definitely be implemented. The date will be announced soon. As of today, we have launched the Green War Room, and this room will analyze, monitor. There are hotspots set in Delhi now, and this Green Room will monitor, analyze, strategize, and execute whatever plans come up. This Green Room will be headed by 2 engineers and 1 scientist, and in total it's a 12-member team. 9 of them will be citizens. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying, So essentially, what you're telling me, you're clarifying an important point for me. You're telling me that it is 100% on the cards that the no PUC, no fuel move will be implemented in Delhi. Only the date is yet to be decided. That is what you're telling me. That is what you're telling me. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. The second question to you is this. Not very long ago, in fact, last week, you had Arvind Kejriwal, the Chief Minister of Delhi, give us a 15-point battle action plan to combat pollution in the city of Delhi, in the NCR region. Help me understand what has changed from then to now that you've had to include this move as well. I'm not saying right now whether it's a good move or a bad move, but the 15 points didn't include this no PUC, no fuel measure. Why was it announced only over the weekend? Was it an afterthought?
You heard Gopal Rai ji. Several suggestions are coming in, and we are implementing. We are a citizens, we are a participative democracy. We believe in people's suggestions. These are suggestions as they come in. It's not that we have given an exhaustive list. We are constantly working on fighting pollution. In fact, if you compare from 2021, we are not counting the COVID lockdown period because that will be unfair. If you compare with 2018 and 2021, there's been a 40% reduction in PM10 and there's been a 31% reduction in PM2.5. And this is because of a consistent measures. We have planted about 33 lakh additional trees in Delhi. Delhi happens to be the first state with a tree plantation policy. It also has a very progressive EV policy. You would have noticed that there are EV stations around Delhi now. They're more coming up. So we're constantly working on it. We are not giving you that, oh, this is it and this we'll do. You constantly see us working on things. There are 80 machines which are on Delhi roads right now. You may have seen them. They are to control the dust pollution. They're spraying water on Delhi consistently. So pollution also happens to be as unfortunate as it is, Punjab and Delhi, we are doing, I can tell you a list of things that we have worked in Punjab also. But this issue needs to be addressed as much. We need a joint action plan. We need the government.
We'll talk about Paralis later. We'll talk about Paralis in just a bit and the responsibility is now with the Aam Aadmi Party because it rules Punjab as well. But I'll come to Paralis later, because today we are looking at vehicular pollution, which contributes a little more than 50% to Delhi's pollution. Vimlendu Jha, do you think the no PUC, what do you make of the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson saying that over the years, pollution in Delhi has actually decreased? Anyone who lives in the city will anecdotally tell you it hasn't. Secondly, do you believe that if the no PUC, no fuel measure is actually implemented, things will improve? Give me a minute here. I'll take that question to Bhavreen Khandari and we'll fix Vimlendu Jha's live link there. Bhavreen, if you could take that question from me. The Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson is saying that over the years, because of the consistent efforts we have taken, pollution in Delhi has actually come down. Anecdotally, do you believe that to be true, irrespective of what the numbers are being thrown at us? And B, do you believe that the no PUC, no fuel move will actually work, given that the number one contributor to Delhi's pollution is vehicular pollution?
Yeah, no, not at all. I don't agree with that. We've had one good air day this whole year, and that also thanks to the nature god that we got rain. And the summer was awful as well. We all know that. There have been lots and lots of articles, and we've all been speaking and writing about it. So we cannot agree on that. And like you said, the PUC certificates coming into the, we have 17 lakh, I believe, vehicles that are plying, which are without the PUC. And that obviously must be checked. And that should have been checked. Why now? I mean, they should have been checked long ago, and this should have started. And so that's a welcome step. But I can't seem to understand as a citizen, one of the traders just now spoke on the show, that how is it going to be enforced? How can you expect private operators who are supposed to be selling fuel to be, fighting this battle for the authorities? It's actually the job of DPCC or the police. And we know that they have vacant posts and we don't have enough people. We always have this excuse year after year that there are not enough people. Why are there vacant posts? What are we waiting for? I mean, thanks to this situation, again, the whole year we've spoken, our children were breathing the same polluted air throughout the year. They are, breathing this toxicity. They're going to live 10 years lesser. I mean, how much data, how many studies can one see and show? And it, like I always say, that children are our future. Their future belongs to everyone. The youth, the children, they belong to everyone. The politicians also share the same grief. So this is a thing. And the other thing, which is that I can't seem to understand under which law are they also going to pursue the imprisonment and the fines. So there is obviously no clarity. It's just making headlines. A random headline doesn't help. And that's what has happened. And for something again, sorry, I'm just going to take that for the trees. We are cutting 3 trees an hour in the most polluted city with permissions. And the ones which are being cut illegally, probably we are cutting more than 5 trees an hour. So let's not talk about plantation till we curb this. In the most polluted city, we cannot afford to. There has to be a moratorium on tree felling if we really are well-meaning and we are looking to save the city.
Priyanka Kakkar, there you were telling our viewers that, there is a massive tree plantation drive that is underway in the national capital, and Vimlendu has something to say about that. But even before that, we've had Bhavreen tell us that every hour in the national capital, you have 3 trees being cut. So what is this tree plantation drive that you're talking about? I'll let you answer that. Let Vimlendu come in here. Vimlendu, just to get to the point of our debate and discussion this evening, we'll talk about trees and and the Parali stubble burning in just a bit. But do you believe that the Aam Aadmi Party government's move of not giving fuel, ensuring that no fuel is given to anyone who doesn't have a pollution under control certificate, can it work in your view?
See, ideally, indeed, there should be not a single polluting vehicle plying on the road. But reality is that out of 1.5 crore vehicles that Delhi has, almost 42% vehicles in Delhi are plying illegally. You'll be surprised to know that, last year, the same Delhi government that is talking about, the same transport department caught somewhere odd around 2,900 vehicles. This year, they've caught 5,000 vehicles, old vehicles, out of whatever, 56 lakh or whatever, 56, 60 lakh vehicles. So they're not doing their job at all. That is point number one. Their enforcement department, their transport department is, on an average basis impounding, less than 10 vehicles. And they have 84 teams, so which basically means that perhaps in 2 months, in 60 days, they catch one vehicle, and that's claim to fame. That's point number one. Point number two is that indeed transport is a source of pollution, and transport pollutes through the year. Right now, Delhi's air quality is bad when there's no parali, when there's winter hasn't really arrived as yet, and still AQI in several parts of Delhi was beyond 500 this morning. And therefore, to really think of a plan like this on the eve of the day of pollution, on October 3rd, to really bring in the entire, state into this kind of a state is very, very unfortunate, because a petrol pump has to give petrol, also has all the PUCs, by the way. I should tell you, 1,000 odd PUCs, I'm not sure how many are working, because in 2018, some people had gone to the Supreme Court, and out of 200 PUCs that are there in Delhi, 75 to 80% were not functional. I don't know how many of them are actually functional. So imagine a petrol pump will do petrol giving, PUC, as well as PUC check. So theoretically, it looks very good, and that's what, a lot of times what Aam Aadmi Party government does is grabs the headline, says the right thing, but doing the right thing is called governance, not saying the right thing. Unfortunately, the air quality index of Delhi in last couple of years has been the same. In last 5 years, we've only had 4 to 5 good air days, and a lot of that actually falls, in COVID time. So at the end of the day, all the measures need to show action, and we need to have a 365-day plan. Of course, polluting vehicles should be taken off, but you need to work on it 365 days rather than in the month of October. 56 lakh vehicles which are still plying.
Priyanka Kakkar, before I get in the BJP spokesperson, would you want to come in here? How will this even be done? Many people can say too little, too late. Pollution season is upon us. We know. From October 10th, life in Delhi and breathing in Delhi will be like hell. Why wake up now? Fact is, 17 lakh vehicles in the national capital are plying without a valid PUC. Why wake up now and say, guys, no PUC, no fuel? The point that everyone on the panel seems to have made so far is that, the action, the battle to fight pollution needs to be through the year and not in the month of October when the crisis is upon us.
No, it has been through the year. I agree with ma'am when she was talking about three trees cut every hour. And because of that, we came up with the tree plantation policy. We have been consistently working at it. The environmentalist before me, Mr. Jha, he was talking about 4 or 5 years. It's been getting worse, from bad to worse. Actually, it cannot be so. 2 years, as unfortunate it was, there was a lockdown and the pollution was, I'm not saying that it was entirely to our credit, but because there was a lockdown, there was no vehicular pollution, so things improved. Even today, compared to last year around this time, we are at a moderate level. I am not saying that it is sufficient. I'm not saying we've done everything, but I can give you an exhaustive list of what we have done. Not exhaustive, actually. We've been constantly working at it. And it is only now because, awareness is very important, because it gets very bad from October to January. We know that. So the awareness drives have begun, and we are speaking more, you hear us more vociferously about it. But constantly we've moved to an EV policy. There's a tree plantation policy. The green cover, ma'am will also agree that the green cover of Delhi has increased by a little over 3%. It was 20% earlier. It is 23 point something % now. This after 33 lakh trees were planted by Aam Aadmi Party.
Okay. Should I get in the BJP spokesperson here? Anuja Kapur, would you want to come in here? Will you say that the move, at least on paper, theoretically, is well-intentioned? After all, if vehicular pollution is the #1 contributor to Delhi's pollution, then The way to tackle it is to tackle vehicular pollution, which means if you don't have a pollution certificate, you don't get fuel. Now, the move is sounding impractical, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I want to ask you if the Aam Aadmi Party has the BJP's support on this one.
Thank you for giving me the chance at last, Shreya ji. So, as usual, Priyanka ji is in the denial mode and very well categorized by Vimal ji. Kudos to you. So, first of all, I think everybody knows that I would not like to put it through, but okay, TV9 report has already given it that it was the most polluted city, #1, Delhi, in whole of India. So that was there on 18th of August. We all know that. On 22nd January also, it was 342 air quality, 27th of May. So now, when we talk about Aam Aadmi Party, and the madam sitting here is telling that about the free plantation, so just me rephrase her and give her a recall. EDMC has taken the steps in putting the Delhi, reducing the pollution. 125 kV PNG generator installed in Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Hospital. It was done by BJP. 17,741 trees and 34,700,
Anuja, I asked you a question.
Medicinal herbs, plantation. That's what
I
I'm
asked you
telling
a question. I asked you a question about the PUC move.
Doing it, ma'am. No, so that is what I'm also coming up.
Is the BJP saying no PUC, no fuel? All I'm asking you is if the Aam Aadmi Party has the support of the BJP on this one, because the move on paper seems doable. I mean, at least it seems good on paper. It may or may not be practical. That's the question I asked you.
Yes. Shreya ji, definitely everybody on the panel is, apart from Priyanka ji, is putting up the forward that it is not practical. Now, what he has done in odd and even also, you have seen it was not practical. What he has done, red light on and a car off, it was not practical. He's a man of words and hollowness. You have seen this. Do you know? Talk to them. I have my Jiju is in ITO area, and there that is this petrol pump. And I had a talk about this with him, and I asked him. I said, "Do you think this will work?" He said, "This is an essential property. This is an essential commodity. How can somebody will not take a petrol? But how will they ensure that this is going to be done with PUC? How they going to do it?" So this is the implementation is never there with Aam Aadmi Party. They have done 900 crore advertisements. Tell me Arvind Kejriwal ji and Bhagwat Manji is not here in Delhi. Tell me how these things are going to happen. Ghar ka aadmi ghar pe nahi hai. And then there is a chori which happens. So tell me how this is going to happen.
Priyanka Kakkar, how will this work? Okay, Anuja. Okay, we've heard you. Priyanka Kakkar, help me understand how this will work.
How do I help you understand? I mean, she's saying it's not a good move.
No, forget Anuja ji. I want to ask you. Wait a minute, Priyanka, listen to my question, please. Listen to my question. I want to ask you how this will work. You've heard what the petrol pump dealers are saying. They're saying, is law enforcement our duty? We already have enough on our plate. We know what had happened when you had told us that if you don't wear helmets, there will be no fuel. There were fights every day at the petrol station. Will we give petrol? Will we ensure that people have PUCs, or will we be, monitoring and doing police duties? Who has a PUC? Therefore, that person can proceed in line and get fuel, etc. This is not our job. Why are you lumping this on us? I want to ask you how this will work practically.
First, I want to definitely state it on record that pollution harms me as much as it harms you. It harms all of us, and we definitely need a joint action plan. We definitely need the support of the neighboring NCR as well. We definitely need Anuja ji's support as well. Anuja ji, it is a good thing if you turn off the engine while you're at the red light. It is not a bad thing to do. One.
Now,
Secondly,
listen, if you're going to talk about this, very soon I'm going to bring your scams on the record. Don't let me do this.
Anuja, you must bring the Aam Aadmi Party's scams on record, but not right now.
Red light on and car off. No, Shreya ji, 1 minute. Just campaign has spent rupees 10.46 crore on this, on odd and even. Do you know how much they have earned? They have earned 94 lakh. They have given it to Aam Aadmi Party workers. Do you know this is an RTI report? I'm not saying. Can I already given this. So this is something which is a bigger scam coming up in
RTI छोड़िए, मैं आपको बता आती हूँ ऐसे अगर ऐसे बात करेंगे तो
आगे नहीं छोड़ूंगी मैं आपकी
Anuja, you know, there is no need to do behesbazi. There is absolutely no need to do behesbazi. You've made your point. Anuja, you've made your point. Anuja, you've made your point. Don't make me do this. You've made your point, Anuja. Let Priyanka Kakkar respond to what you're saying. Chillane se kuch, can we just dip Anuja Kapur's audio here? Anuja, don't make me do this. I don't like to do this to my guests. You're an honored guest. You've made a point. Let Priyanka Kakkar respond to that, na? Priyanka, go ahead.
From what I understand of the commotion is that Anuja ji had an apprehension on how it will be implemented. See, previously, we've implemented everything we have said. If you can pick up a track record, it is okay. आलोचना करने के लिए बैठे हैं वो करेंगे. But even you know, the PUC, you'll recall very recently, Manoj Tiwari ji was fined 10,000 rupees. He got a hefty bill of 40,000 something. And then there was a hue and cry why the PUC challan is so expensive. This was the intention. If you drive a vehicle without pollution control, you will be challaned this heftily. So we've already done one step. And now implementation of no PUC and no fuel, that will also soon be on the anvil. It is a problem which has been brought forth. I'm stating on record that it will be done. It's only a matter of date.
It's only a matter of date. Although I can...
Your audio, I can't hear you.
Delhi government, odd and even. Now, you know, we've seen it being... Do you have any data on whether odd and even has actually worked to say whether, you know, this no PUC, no fuel can work as well?
Are you speaking with me? Audio
No, I wasn't speaking to you. I was speaking to Vimlendu.
Sorry, yeah, your audio had gone.
All right.
I think, you know, the thing is that, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead. Should I repeat my question for you?
Sorry, what was your question? I couldn't hear you.
So you know, we were talking about how practical will it be to implement this no PUC, no fuel policy, Vimlendu? And on that question, I was, you know, reminded of the odd and even scheme, which the Aam Aadmi Party government tells us has worked very well on the ground when it comes to controlling pollution. Has it, I mean, is there any data that tells us that odd and even has actually worked for us to believe that this no PUC, no fuel will actually work?
You know, the data that we actually had when odd even was implemented, it, you know, on peak days, perhaps 1% to 2% is the difference. You know, I supported odd even, but I was also at the same time cynical about odd even. And I'm saying it once again, that, you know, when we are in the ICU, when we are in public health emergency, we will have to do 20, 25 things, 50 things, everything possible, including ban on firecrackers, including ban on waste burning, and everything else. And unfortunately, our governments need to realize is that 200 is not normal. Ms. Kakkar needs to understand that please do not say 180 or 200 is normal. It is bad. Please don't say 400 AQI is normal. It's hazardous. And therefore, we need to understand these numbers from public health point of view. Just the reports that have come from Lancet and from everywhere else, it says that, you know, almost imagine 1.5 million people die because of air pollution. So odd even doesn't have that impact. I would still support it if it is actually the 25th point. It cannot be the #1 point. My problem with Delhi government right now vis-a-vis air quality governance is that awareness cannot be always qualified as their primary form of intervention. They keep putting the onus on the citizenry. This time, you know, last time they said, citizens, please don't drive. Uske pehle they said, citizens, switch off. Uske pehle, now they're saying, citizens, get PUC. How about you? Like what Bhavreen was talking about, if you're still chopping so many thousands of trees, if your so-called transplantation policy that that you mentioned in your 15-point agenda or whatever, war room and so on and so forth, you know, if almost 40% of those trees have not survived, you might have planted 30 lakh or 1,000 crore trees, saplings and shrubs, by the way, and you have chopped thousands and thousands of full-grown 100-year trees. What kind of a logic are we talking about? And my thing is that public transport, where is the public transport? We are in shambles. We have a deficit of 5,000 buses. And I don't really care whether it's Delhi governments, whether it's BJP or it's Aam Aadmi Party, which is at fault. Stubble burning, I'm sure this year, this season, it's a little awkward for them because they can't talk about stubble as loudly and as, shamelessly as they used to past years. Past years, TV debates, everything came to stubble burning. This time they can't because stubble burning is an episodic source of pollution, which they almost made the primary source of pollution and put the blame on that. So, central government is at fault as well. We do not know how much money has the central government actually allocated. The BJP spokesperson was talking about MCD. MCD almost contributes 20 to 25% of air pollution crisis. One of the reasons why Anand Vihar is in a bad shape or always has bad air days because of one of the reasons is landfill, which is constantly on fire, which is the responsibility of BJP. So, in a very, very non-partisan way, we need to understand that both the parties in the case of Delhi need to understand the seriousness of the situation and get over this hoarding and awareness business, Ms. Kakkar and everyone here, and also the MCD representative or BJP representative. Our children are dying. Mortality and morbidity, both. And still, we are all dancing over, who is right and who's not right. Both of you are wrong. Both of you are not doing enough. Both of you are shifting the goalpost and putting the onus on the citizens. Citizens will do. Citizens need to be active and responsible and moral. But what about your morality when it comes to issues of governance and all these points that I've actually mentioned, be it transport or waste burning or tree cutting and transplantation policy or dust and construction? And why should you actually put a ban 5 days before on waste burning? That's a ban. There's a law already which should be implemented 365 days. PUC is 365 days. Why do you wake up on October 1st, for heaven's sake?
Exactly. I think, Vimlendra, today a lot of citizens are feeling what you are feeling. My last question to Bhavreen. Bhavreen, before I go, I just have 10 seconds. Vimlendra says, why should the onus or the responsibility lie only on the citizen? But the onus and the responsibility has to be on the citizen as well, because it is the citizen that is contributing to a large extent to pollution. It is us who drive cars sometimes without PUCs. It is, we are equally to blame. Can we just blame the government and just the government to take corrective measures and hope that we don't have to take any responsibility on our own?
No, of course, the responsibility is for everyone, Shreya, but the governance has to come from the government. It is their job. See, here the government is becoming a campaigner, unfortunately. They have to forget about campaigns and do the real stuff. Like I said, get the real boots on the ground. I said that before also. We don't need apps and campaigns. We need real people. After all, now we need the DPCC. We need the people on the police, the forces. We need equipment. That is what you need. We don't need campaigns. Let the citizens do that. That's their job. The government has to be firm on their policies. They have to bring that into implementation and force it, put it into action, and not just like Vimlendra said, put the onus on the citizens. It's enough of all that. We don't need awareness. You do one Google search, is everything there. But it has to be done rightly now. Action is what we need.
The government needs to do governance. You cannot be, you cannot be a campaigner. That's not your job. That's the citizens' job. Vimlendra, good to have you. Thank you very much, Bhavreen, and thank you to both our spokespersons for joining us on the broadcast as well, Priyanka Kakkar and Anuja Kapur. Thank you very much for joining us.